बर्बाद गुलिस्तां को करने बस एक ही उल्लू काफी था। हर शाख पे उल्लू बैठा है, अंजाम गुलिस्तां क्या होगा? Hello and welcome to a new episode of Arguably the Reading Quest. I am Nishant. This is the third and the last episode of Self-Help Books and the Great Sham. So, I'd like to start this with a quote by Umberto Eco, an iconic Italian writer, that sums it all about who are the people involved in writing these books and why these books are so famous. So this one quote sums it up all. Please listen to it. So there are four kinds of people in the world: cretins, fools, morons, and lunatics. Cretins don't even talk. They sort of slumber and stumble. Fools are in great demand, especially on social occasion. You can also read social media. They embrace everyone, they embarrass everyone, but provide material for conversation. Fools don't claim that cats bark, but they talk about cats when everyone else is talking about dogs. They offend all the rule of conversation. And when they really offend, they are magnificent. Morons never do the wrong thing. They get their reasoning wrong. Like the fellow who says that all dogs are pets and all dogs barks, and cats are pets too, therefore cats bark. Morons will occasionally say something that is right, but they say it for the wrong reason. A lunatic is easily recognized. He is a moron who doesn't know the ropes. The moron proves his thesis. He has logic, however twisted it may be. The lunatic, on the other hand, doesn't concern himself at all with logic. He works by short circuits. For him, everything proves everything else. The lunatic is an IT fix, and whatever he comes across confirms his lunacy. You can tell him by the liberties he takes with common sense, by his flashes of inspiration, and by the fact that sooner or later he brings up the Templars. There are lunatics who don't bring up the Templars, but those who do are the most insidious. So guys, this sums up all what's wrong with self-help book and what kind of people are there in the world writing self-help book, consuming self-help book, offending all the rules of conversation, seemingly logical but quite illogical. Okay, so this particular quote sums it up all. Instead, I would like in this episode to suggest you three classics of psychology that will help you understand yourself a little better and to grapple with the anxiety, the loneliness, the boredom, the emptiness of the void that this material culture has, thrown at us. And you'll find some sense of the world around you by reading these books. So the first book that immediately comes to my mind is by Abraham Maslow, Towards the Psychology of Being. Abraham Maslow, Towards the Psychology of Being. Unfortunately, Abraham Maslow has been reduced to nothing more than a cliched name in the management courses in B school, where he has been known only for his hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, to which neither the students fully understand nor the teachers themselves are, interested in helping the student understand the profundity of this quote. So, please pay attention to this quote. If we wish to help humans to become more fully human, we must realize not only that they try to realize themselves, but that they are also reluctant or afraid or unable to do so. Only by fully appreciating this dialectic between sickness and death, between sickness and health, can we help to tip the balance in favor of health, says Abraham Maslow. So Abraham Maslow is, very famous for his theories of self-actualization and hierarchy of human needs. And that is, and these are the cornerstones of the modern humanistic psychology. And no book so well epitomizes those ideas as his classics Towards the Psychology of Being. A profound and an exciting book, and its influence continues to spread. beyond psychology, throughout humanities, and beyond the business management theory. Later in life, questions such as why don't more people self-actualize if their basic needs are met? How can we humanistically understand the problem of evil are the question that concerned Maslow throughout his life. So this book is very important in a sense that it breaks away from just focusing on mental illness without, of course, underestimating its power, and instead on the possibilities. It gives hope for individuals to understand themselves better and do our best without ignoring the power of society. And the hierarchy of needs still remains the fundamental to the development educational theory. Now see this profound and iconic quote. The search for the exotic, the strange, the unusual, the uncommon has often taken the form of pilgrimages, of turning away from the world, the journey to the east, and to another country or to a different religion. The great lessons from the true mystics, from the Zen monks, and now also from the humanistic and transpersonal psychologists, that the sacred is in the ordinary, that it is to be found in one's daily life, in one's neighbors, friends and family, in one's backyard, and that the travel may be a flight from confronting the sacred. This lesson can be easily lost. To be looking elsewhere for miracle is to me a sure sign of ignorance that everything is miraculous, says Abraham Maslow. Yes, everything is indeed miraculous. When I started reading Abraham Maslow, it was a shock to me that what we have been taught in our business school days and how he has been reduced to, how he has been marginalized just to one theory, that is his hierarchy of needs. But he speaks like a sage. He was a sage amongst the psychologists. And if I say so, mark my word, it's not a hyperbole. He was indeed a sage amongst the psychologists. And he speaks with so profound wisdom and deep experience that it feels as if you're reading another Carl Jung book. You're not reading an American psychologist. You're reading Carl Jung, a profound sage from the East. So read his book and experience it for yourself. Another quote, and that sums it all for his self-actualization, that you must want to be first class, meaning the best, the very best you are capable of becoming. If you deliberately plan to be less than you are capable of being, then I warn you that you will be deeply unhappy for the rest of your life. You will be evading your own capacities, your own possibilities. And then he says, a musician must make music, an artist must paint, a poet must write. If he is to be ultimately at peace with himself, what a man can be, he must be. This weed we call self-actualization. It refers to man's desire for self-fulfillment, namely to the tendency for him to become actually in what he is potentially, to become everything one is capable of becoming. You see, these kind of profound quotes you are not going to find, trust me, in any self-help book whatsoever. Self-actualizing people have a deep feeling of identification, sympathy, and affection for human beings in general. They feel kinship and connection as if all people were members of a single family. Self-actualizing persons' contact with reality is simply more direct. And along with this unfiltered, unmediated directness of their contact with reality comes also a vastly heightened ability to appreciate again and again, freshly and naively, the basic goods of life, with awe, pleasure, wonder, and even ecstasy, however stale those experiences may have become for others. So you see here, the question is the revival of the experience and going back to those experiences again and again. So it's not about the meaning of life, rather it is more about indulging in experiences more deeply, more profoundly, more ecstatically, as much as possible. Another name that comes to my mind is, of course, Rollo May, another American psychologist, existential psychologist, The Discovery of Being by Rollo May. So Rollo May brings together here in this book the idea of Kierkegaard, Nietzsche and other great thinkers to offer insights into the ideas and techniques of existential psychotherapy, of which he was a major force. He pays particular attention to the causes of loneliness, isolation, and our search for stability in order to move toward a future where responsibility, creativity, and love can play a role. His is also a bestseller market. Although Abraham Maslow is very lesser known and even lesser studied, Rollo May is still is one of the bestsellers, if not among the immediate bestsellers. But of course, he is very loved one amongst those who are, really looking for some really good reads in psychology and philosophy. Mm. And although he's often associated with humanistic psychology, his philosophy was strongly influenced by existential philosophy, means the philosophy of Kierkegaard and Nietzsche and all such people. Now, Rollo May says, and you see, this is such a profound quote and a source of wisdom. Rollo May says that finding the center of strength within ourselves is in the long run the best contribution we can make to our fellow men. Finding the center of strength within ourselves, I insist. One person with indigenous inner strength exercises a great calming effect on the panic amongst people around him. This is what our society needs, not new ideas and inventions. Important as these are, of course, and not geniuses and superman, but person who can be. The persons who can be. That is, persons who have a center of strength within themselves. The human being cannot live in a condition of emptiness for very long. If he is not growing towards something, he does not merely stagnate. The pent-up potentialities turn into morbidity and despair and eventually to destructive activities. We in our age are faced with a strange paradox. Never before have we had so much information in bits and pieces flooded upon us by radio and television and satellite. Yet never before we had so little inner certainty about our own being. The more objective truth increases, the more our inner certitude decreases. Our fantastically increased technical power and each forward step in technology is experienced by many as a new push towards our possible annihilation. Nietzsche was strangely prophetic when he said, "We live in a period of atomic chaos. The terrible apparition, the nation state, and the hunt for happiness will never be greater than when it must be caught between today and tomorrow, because the day after tomorrow all hunting time may have come to an end altogether." Sensing this and despairing of ever finding meaning in life, people these days seize on many ways of dulling their awareness by apathy, by psyche numbing, or by hedonism. Others, especially young people, elect in alarming and increasing numbers to escape their own being by suicide, says Rollo May. Then he again says, I think Dostoevsky was right, that every human being must have a point at which he stands against the culture where he says, this is me and damn world can go to hell. Bertrand Russell writes that the painful thing about our time is that those who feel certainty are stupid, and those with any imagination and understanding are full of doubt and indecision. Anxiety has a purpose. Originally, the purpose was to protect the existence of the cavemen from wild beasts and savage neighbors. Nowadays, the occasion for anxiety are very different. We are afraid of losing out in the competition, feeling unwanted, isolated and ostracized. But the purpose of anxiety is still to protect us from dangers that threaten the same things. Our existence or value that we identify with our existence. This normal anxiety of life cannot be avoided except at the price of apathy or the numbing of one's sensibility and imagination. Another book that is strongly recommended is A Way of Being by Carl Rogers. So Carl Rogers was a founder of client-centered therapy and founder of humanistic psychology movement. And he based his life works on the fundamental belief in the human potential for growth. A Way of Being is the last book of his, and more philosophical than rest all of his books, than all of his earlier writings. So he says, experience for me is the highest authority. The touchstone of validity is my own experience. No other's person, ideas, and none of my own ideas are as authoritative as my experience. It is to experience that I must return and again, to discover a close approximation to truth as it is in the process of becoming in me. People are just as wonderful as sunsets, if you let them be. When I look at sunset, I don't find myself saying, soften the orange a bit on the right-hand corner. I don't try to control a sunset. I watch it with awe as it unfolds. A good life is a process, not a state of being. It is a direction, not a destination. Today we have abundant opportunities to utilize our strengths and passions, do things we enjoy and connect with people we love. Tomorrow might bring a world of exciting new possibilities, but today, wherever we stand on our journey can be an adventure in itself. And then he says, colossal rigidity, whether in dinosaurs or dictatorships, has a very poor record of evolutionary survival. So 3 books, guys, I strongly recommend. This is the last episode of the self-help books and the great Sham. Hope you have enjoyed the video. Please spread the word. If you have still not liked, shared and subscribed my YouTube channel, arguably The Reading Quest, please do that. Thank you so much. Happy reading.